Good morning. Good morning, my beautiful family, my brilliantly blessed, abundant beings, and welcome to another present moment. Yes, I am your host, Ace Anderson, and I'm so glad to be here today with you on this journey. And as we embrace this first light together, I want to extend a special shout out to all the early morning risers out there. Your commitment to starting the day with intention and positivity is what makes the A team extraordinary. So, grab your morning brew. Mine just happens to be water. And let's explore, illuminate, and inspire ourselves to be more mindful with mindful conversation. So, today I want to talk a little bit about entrepreneurship. This is Entrepreneurship 101. Anybody who is interested or intrigued in learning a little bit more about how to be an entrepreneur or how to start your business. I feel like, honestly, we're all entrepreneurs at heart. We all want to build something. We all want to make a change in this world and craft something good. What's going on? All y'all's foods is in the house. We all want to craft something and change the world. And, honestly, I'm going to start by looking up the origin of the word entrepreneur. Origin, let's see. So the term entrepreneur is a French word coined by the economist Jean Baptiste. It's a French word, and which usually translated to undertaker or adventurer, right? So undertaker, right? We're all here to undertake something, to make a change, to make a difference, to build something in this world. We're all given a unique set of skills, a unique perspective, and there is something that only we ourselves as an individual can offer to the world, and it is important to be able to know what that is and then to be able to aim at it. And so and that's really all it is. And based off of your perspective, you aim at something, and it's nice to think about it as aiming at something, because we can look at like when we look at the word sin, right? Sin is translated to hamartia, which means to miss the mark. It's an archery term. So if you think about yourself at point A and you're aiming at point B, and the path towards that thing, that point B should be a straight line. And anytime you veer off of the path and you go a different direction than what you're aiming at, then that's sin. So sin is relative to every individual based off of your perspective, based off of what you want in life and where you plan to go. And so especially on this first day of April, that's important to talk about the day after Easter, and all of us being forgiven of our sins, right? And being washed clean and made anew. That is for us to recognize that our sins are not some arbitrary rule that is placed on our hearts. Sin is actually a personal experience of missing the mark from where you are aiming to head and what you want out of your life. So that's something important just to recognize. So let's get a little bit more into entrepreneurship. As we embark on this week's adventure, let's align our hearts with the fruit of the Spirit, with love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Let us trust them to guide us as our emotions as the compasses that they are to living a life that resonates deeply with our most authentic desires. So, you ready to unlock the secrets to the life of your dreams? Let's get into it. Exactly. So, my man says, fall down 6 times and stand up 7. Exactly. We love that. We love that. We appreciate you all for joining us. Thank you. We're talking a little bit about entrepreneurship today, and how to manifest the life of your dreams. Creating. We learned that entrepreneur is a French word which is often translated into undertaker or adventurer, right? And so we are on this path. We are on a path where we're journeying, we're adventuring, and we always say joy in the journey. And so it's important to think of ourselves as entrepreneurs, as undertakers, right? Where we come into this world and we craft a path for ourselves. We envision a future that we wish to see. We've been given this God-given vision, right, to be able to project ourselves into the future and experience something that hasn't taken place yet, and so we can take steps to achieving that. And so it's really a beautiful thing to be an entrepreneur, and I believe that we all are. Even if you work for someone else, if you have a 9 to 5, I believe you're still an entrepreneur. You're still an adventurer. You're crafting your career. You're crafting your journey. You're working in a job in hopes of building a future of your dreams. And whether that's to start a family, then it's your own unique family that you'll be starting, and or whether that's building a Fortune 500 company. Either way, you're still crafting something, right? You're crafting your own vision for your life, and you're undertaking that as your responsibility, and you are the leader and and the master of making sure that that happens. So to get started, I just want to talk to you a little bit about the genesis of the Striped Heart, of my company. If you're unfamiliar with the Striped Heart, we are a production company that focuses on aesthetic, or specializes in aesthetic and the arts, right? The performing arts. That's our background. We love to help companies like theater companies and dance companies, but we also do it all. We've created content for corporate companies like the Apartment Service Management Company, which is a management company for different apartment complexes. And then we also have designed for places like the Dallas Symphony Orchestra or the Dallas Theater Center. And we've created designs and video content and all types of stuff. And now what we primarily do is produce cinematic content, like films and videos that are promo videos, promo content, and whatnot, and the like. So I really love what we do. If you haven't checked out the Striped Heart, go to www.thestripedheart.com. That's the Striped Heart has 1 P. A lot of people mistakenly put 2 P's, which would be the Stripped Heart, which is a little different thing. But but either way, we really love what we do. And my goal for what we do is to make really epic cinematic films. Like that is my goal. I want to make incredibly cinematic masterpieces and that change the world. I want to tell these stories that have epic effects that truly have huge impact. If I love the productions like The Chosen or other productions. I love Game of Thrones, and I've always had an idea of like bringing a lot of the biblical stories to be Game of Thrones level, and making them really pop. And so let me just make sure that I'm moving, because my My thing says we're not able to go. Oh, okay, no, so we're good. We're good. Um, anyhow, so then we talk. Let's talk a little bit about um, so our goal is to change the world via stories, right? As the striped heart, and it's important to recognize your own mission, right? We have to have a mission. If we're embarking on a journey or an adventure, there has to be some sort of mission, something that we are aiming to do, aiming to accomplish, right? With our unique perspective, with our unique set of skills, and so that comes into like what makes the voice of your brand, right? Is your vision, your passion. And so for me, it was always about bringing people together. When I started the company, it actually started off as somewhat of like a clique, or like some type of crew of my best friends from high school, and we started something called Sick Brothers, which was SIHK, which stood for originally it stood for well, I'll tell you what it stands for now. It changed to the Society of Individuality, Honor, and Knowledge, but it stood for Sophisticated Individual Hard Knocks. And so it was just a group of kids, and I wanted to craft a different path for myself. I knew that based off of the people that I was hanging out with and I was talking to, we might have been a little rough around the edges, but we were still, we were still artists, we were still creators, we still wanted to build something, and so um, it was really cool to for me to create some type of a clique like that united us. Like I always wanted to build a fraternity of some kind, right? And so that became the Sophisticated Individual Hard Knocks, and then it switched later on because when I went to college, I was still producing stuff under the name. That was the production company. So anytime I would create a performance or a play or anything like that, it would be a Sick production or Sick Brothers production. And a lot of people in college, when I started doing it, they didn't resonate with the name, and it wasn't really fitting. And I was really hesitant to change it because I started in a high school and I wanted to keep my connection with the people I grew up with. And so we would just always argue about the name, and it would be so difficult to get things done. And it really was honestly very frustrating. And I realized that the reason why people were so hung up on the name was because I wasn't it wasn't mission focused. It was so aesthetic focused. It was so like brand focused that I really failed to communicate what the mission of the brand was. And anytime I would talk to people, it would be like, I just want people to come together and make something cool, just like all of our talents, we can just make something, right? And people just didn't resonate with that for several different reasons. So eventually I just did some brainstorming, and I was like, you know what? Okay, here's how I can, make it a little bit more universal, right? Because a lot of people were like, I don't identify as a hard knock or whatever, and it was just like really frustrating, But so then eventually changed the name to, I changed the name to be the Society of Individuality, Honor, and Knowledge. And I picked those things because, one, I was trying to create a society. I was trying to create a group of people, right, to be connected and to feel like, we have a support system. And so I created this I created the society was really important. And then individuality was huge for me. I didn't want people to feel like now they were a part of this thing. Now they were a monolith, or they had to think a certain way or be a certain way or do something specific. I wanted it to be just unique to them. And so I really wanted to focus on individuality. And if you notice, anytime you see the word sick, the I is little. It's a little I, and then the other letters are capitalized, just to signify that I for individuality, and and then honor, is really really important for me, because I feel like in today's society we really don't have a lot of experience with honor. I believe a lot of us have honor and a lot of us strive to be honorable. However, as a society, I think we kind of have the lost the value of honor, of true honor, right? If you look at some of these cultures, like I'm watching Shogun right now, and like it's about Japan in the 1600s, and when you look at these cultures, like honor is so important to them. It's so important, and it's not to say that that's the better way to be, but I think that in today's world, like we don't even call each other ma'am or sir, right? Or madam, right? Or there's just not as much honor in our society as there used to be, and we don't really uphold honor. So it was really important to make sure that that was embedded in this business that I was creating, the sense of honor, the sense of having the respect for each other, for individuals. And so that was really important to me. So society of individuality, honor, and then lastly, knowledge, right? Seek knowledge. Seeking wisdom is very, very important. It's very crucial, I believe, as a creator, as a entrepreneur, right? To be constantly seeking growth, seeking the ability to know more, never feeling like you know enough, right? There's not enough knowledge. There's not enough to know, and or there's not enough that you can know. You can never know enough. So I thought it was really important to have those elements. So SIHK, the Society of Individuality, Honor, and Knowledge. And then what came from that is that I wanted to create this brand that connected people, that had different that utilized the heart. Like the heart of art was what we were often dubbed as a group. And so I created this logo for the Sick Brothers and Sick Productions that was this heart. And so I wanted, that represented to me the passion for the arts, passion for creating, passion for what you do, for your own individual entrepreneurship and your own individual adventure. And then I was like, how do I represent like honor in that? And then what came to me is like this idea of earning your stripes. And so I decided to put 2 stripes inside of the heart, and then that became the logo. I put it on shirts, and and I was promoting it and sharing it with people, and people really resonated with it. It became easy for people to like buy in and want to be involved in what I was creating. And and they didn't know, sometimes they didn't know what it was, but they knew that it felt right to be a part of it. And people were empowered when I spoke to them about it, and when I showed them somewhat of my vision. And then eventually when the .com era, and creating social media and creating my accounts and everything, I realized that it was challenging to get people to go to the website or find us on social media, because I would just say, "Oh yeah, Sick Brothers," so people would instinctively do SICK, and and so they couldn't find us a lot of times. And so I was like, all right, well, I can just create a moniker, or create the name that doesn't necessarily have the Sick Brothers in it. Maybe it's just a representative of what the logo is, or who we are. And so I tried like Earn Your Stripes and the Heart of Art, but I didn't like the Heart of Art because when you spell it out, it looks like Heart O Fart, and that just wasn't really doing it for me. And so then what came to me was the striped heart. It was available on all platforms, and it was the logo. Like that's our logo. So now Sick Brothers became the striped heart, and the more that I put it in different places, then I was just like, okay, it feels like people are more able to get behind the name of the striped heart rather than Sick Brothers. And so then eventually over time, the term Sick Brothers became its own like specific group, like when acknowledging the core 10 brothers that I created it with. And then the striped heart sort of became the stripe art became now the new title and the new mission. So now let's get a little bit into getting into branding, right? So in order to be an entrepreneur, you have to know what your brand is. And a lot of people, they think about their brand as like just the logo and the color scheme and the brand voice, right? But yeah, so it's more so your voice, right? The images that pop into your mind when you think of said brand. So if it's, for instance, like when you think of Mercedes, right? You don't just think of a car. You think of a very specific style of car. You typically think of luxury. You think of their what is the little hood. I don't know too much about cars, but like the front grill, right? You think about that very specific look that they have, that aesthetic. And you can, so your brand isn't necessarily just your logo or your business card or your website. It's an amalgamation of all those things. How do people resonate when you mention your brand? And so you want to be mission focused when you're creating these things, right? Like I told you, in creating the logo for Sick Brothers / the Striped Heart, I really wanted to incorporate elements of my mission. My mission is to change the world. My mission is to change the world via telling stories, right? And promoting the performing arts, and using art as and our passion for the arts to make a difference in society. And so when I was creating the logo, and even if you go to the website and you check the website, it's everything is infused with this mission. Every aspect of the brand has this mission embedded into it. And so it is very important as a entrepreneur that you incorporate this into your mission. You incorporate this into your brand identity as you're building, as you're creating. When you look at your logo, think about images that invoke the ideas of your mission. And that's not to say to include a bunch of stuff into your logo, right? But because there's other places where you can incorporate certain imagery, right? Like for instance, the One Great Vegan logo does not have any fruit or leaves or any colors like that in it. It's a very simple text-based logo, which is the technical term is a logo type. But then if you look at all the elements of the One Great Vegan brand, there's lots of colorful fruit patterns and, different types of aesthetic elements that can be added and used in tandem with the logo that fulfill her desire to have a little bit more color, right? So you don't have to put every single image that comes to your mind into your logo, especially if you're thinking big, like a big brand, right? Oftentimes, like if you even think about McDonald's, right? McDonald's has its brand, but its logo, but you have different variations. You have the M, which is its logo mark. Then you have the logo type, which is M with McDonald's, right? That's how McDonald's is written. Then you have the background, right, which is oftentimes red, but it doesn't have to be red always. It's not always in a circle, right? Sometimes you just see the smile. Sometimes you see it's even the box, right? When you just look at a McDonald's fry box, you know exactly what it is, without even having to see the logo. And so when you're incorporating these things into your brand, don't just focus on the logo. A lot of times we put all of our energy, all of our focus into what the logo is. The logo should be very simple, should be very identifiable. So it's like, this is you, and that thing can be can be used in various places. You have different logo variations. So you don't want to just be put in like, okay, I like cats, so I'm going to put the cat in there, and then I want it to have whiskers, and then I want to see like this cat is like crawling up a tree because like trees are really important to me, and then I want to have, a sun in there, so I want to have like the sun shining down on a cat in the tree. Like, no, you don't need all of those elements. It should be very, very simple so that people can easily identify, they can recognize the name of your brand, and then they can also recognize the feel of your brand. You're trying to invoke a feeling of your brand, and then you can incorporate all of these other elements, right? So that's in terms of logo, and then you want to make sure that is consistent across all platforms, right? When you put your logo, so you might create a logo that's all logo type and it says exactly what your brand is, but then you put it into your Instagram bio, right? And you can barely read the name because it has to be so small. So then maybe you try creating a different style of a logo mark that allows you to make it smaller, right? That allows it to fit within a circle, or it represents your brand in a very simplistic way that doesn't have to have the whole title, because not many people are going to be reading the name of your brand in the in your Instagram bio. So there's stuff like that, like you making sure you're recognizing, how all of those things are incorporated. And then also your brand voice is part of like, how do you communicate with other people? How do you communicate? How do you write in your bios, right? How do you post tweets? Whenever you write tweets, like, what is the types of words that you use? How many emojis are you using? What types of captions do you use on your posts whenever you post? What is your what do you call it? What is the tone that you're conveying whenever you are writing some of these things? So all of those things are incorporated into your brand, and it's very important to just make sure that they're consistent. Once you start something, don't change it until you've at least had 100 iterations of it. Don't keep changing. Just figure out what works by sticking with it. You have to stick with it. They say quality over quantity, but you get quality through quantity. So you have to continuously be posting, creating, taking the initiative to try this thing for an extended period of time before you decide to change it. Because if you change it, then you have no brand consistency. You don't know why certain things are working versus why other things aren't working, because you haven't really analyzed what's working and what's not. So that's another thing to consider and to think about. All right, next up on the list is to, let me look back at where I'm at. So we just talked about brand building essentials, ways of identifying and communicating your unique value and your position with your target audience. Oh, we didn't talk about target audience. Okay, so you want to have a target audience. I know everybody that I've ever worked with is always like, I want to reach everybody. I want to reach every single person on the face of the earth. Well, you're gonna scattershot, and you're gonna be so inconsistent with your brand because you don't know who the hell you're talking to. You want to talk to everyone by talking to one person. One. You got to talk to one person. Okay? Now, the way that I see it is that super fans are 1 in a million, right? Super fans are 1 in a million. So your goal is to identify the 9.5 thousand super fans that are on this planet, right? There are 9.5 billion people. So there's 9.5 thousand super fans, right, that are interested in your brand, because super fans are 1 in a million, right? You just need to identify those 10,000 super fans, and that's it. You're focused on them. It's all the same profile. All of your super fans have the same exact profile. They like your brand because of this. So identify who is your super fan. What does your super fan like about your brand? And if you change it, think about things that you like brands that you just really vibe with this brand, right? Imagine them changing something that's fundamental to the reason that you like it. Right? That's what it's like to consistently change your brand. Every day you're trying something different, putting something different out. No. So what you want to do is you want to focus on those super fans. Okay? Figure out, okay, what does my super fan like about my brand? And you are your super fan. You should be your super fan. What do I like about my brand? Okay, this is what I like. This is the core. This is who I'm trying to speak to. These are the types of things that I watch on YouTube. This is the type of social media that I consume. These are the types of inspiration that I wish that I had. This is the type of comedy that I like. This is the type of colors and aesthetic that I like. This is the vibe that I vibe with, So you recognize those things for yourself. You make those decisions for yourself, and then you make the change, right? You stay consistent to that brand choice, that idea of your brand. And then your goal is to only worry about your 10,000 super fans. And I promise you, if you have 10,000 super fans, if you can just get your 10,000 super fans, people that really are about you, you're not worrying about anybody else, not a single other person, just your super fans, just the people that really, really, really are loyal to anything you put out, anything you decide. It's like, look, I'm putting this out. They're like, yes, oh my goodness, I can't believe Cheryl is creating her thing, like whatever it is. Like, I love this brand so much. I'm gonna just, I got the post notifications on, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm waking up, I'm checking to see if they got any new drops today, whatever it is. I am there. I am ready. And those are the people that you focus on, and recognize there's 1 in a million. So there's at least there's 9.5 thousand super fans, right? The people that really, 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 really love your brand. And so your goal is to identify that. Do not be general. Don't be general. Oh, well, they're kind of like between age 14 and 45. Well, between the age of 14 and 45, they like a lot of different stuff. 45-year-old like a lot different stuff than a 14-year-old Gen Zer, right? So when you're looking at a lot of these brands or these new, your target audience, you really want to make sure that you're very, 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 very specific. You should know what that person looks like. You should know what that person dresses like. You should know what that person eats for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, right? And start with yourself. But the more general you are, the more garbage you are, right? You're just not going to be like, who cares? What makes your brand special? You want to be general? You really want to be general? No, you want to be specific. You want to say, I want this thing. I want these types of people. And you aim at that. And you say, this is specifically what my brand is. And now you don't say that in your brand. You don't say when you're creating your brand stuff, you're like, we only want these types of people. Nah, because you are trying to reach everybody, but you're just talking to that one person. That's the only person you're talking to. Hey fam. Like when I say, hey fam, I have a very specific person that's listening, right? I have a very specific idea in my mind, and that's the person I'm talking to, right? When I say, hey fam, when I'm doing these videos, it's a very, very, very specific person that I am thinking about in my head, right? And the idea is that if I stay committed to speaking to that one person, right? That one person will gain me so much energy, will give me so much energy that other people will be like, dang, why that person like that brand so much? What's going on there? Then you get another couple people, and I'm still not even worried about the 4 or 5 people that join them. I'm just talking to that one specific person. Hey, what's up? I'm just talking to you, right? You talk to that, then this is also how they say to give speeches. So if you struggle with public speaking, don't worry about a crowd. Don't worry about, oh my God, I'm talking to 1,000 people and what do all these 1,000 people think of me? No, don't even worry about that. Just focus on one person. Make eye contact with one individual. You're just talking to one person. Okay. And if you can get one person to understand, then the likelihood that the 1,000 people will understand is much higher. So you're just focusing on one person with your brand voice. That's all you're doing. Okay. When you're creating your logo, when you're creating your image, you're consulting with yourself, but you're also thinking of like, okay, what is this person? This person's probably like, around like 35 years old. They have a college degree. They grew, you just start thinking about all of those elements. So, they're kind of like, they grew up on 90s comedy, 90s cartoons, and they probably have some type of a spiritual background, and they like the arts, but they don't really know exactly how to get started in the arts. Like, you just really specify who is this person to you, and then you make it happen. All right. So I spent a lot of time talking about that. So we'll move on to the next thing. Marketing strategies. So, SEO, content marketing, social media marketing. These are a couple of different aspects. I don't think we have a lot of time to be able to go over that. Good morning, Shy. What's going on? We don't have too much time to go into all of those elements, but marketing, in terms of marketing, it's the same thing when it comes to speaking to that one person, right? Those are the people that you're trying to get to, that one individual, that one profile, right? You do want to have a very specific profile. And so in your marketing, in your promotion, in your emails, right, you're speaking to that person and you want to make them feel like, wow, you're talking to me, right? And that's like, think about that. When a brand is like actually talking to you, like you're more likely to resonate with it, right? And you're more likely to engage and want to talk to them and want to know more, like want to hear from them because you feel like it's more personalized. And so that's the goal. You're trying to get personal. You're trying to get very personal with your brand in order to create something. And this doesn't matter what you're creating. It truly doesn't matter what type of brand you're creating, but you want to make sure that it's very specific. It's on the nose. It's who you're trying to speak to, right? Okay. So then segment 4, networking, relationship building. It's really important to network, man. It's really important to get back out there and, to get out into the world and just, find the people, use that as an opportunity to create your profile, right? To express your brand, explain your brand to people and see how people respond to it, see how people resonate with it. And when they do, just take note of what their responses are. How are they, is this, because here's the thing, your brand isn't what you say it is, it's what they say it is. So you can lead people. It's like you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. It's the same thing with your brand, right? You can create this brand and you can have all these ideas of what your brand, what the vibe, the energy that you're trying to create. But at the end of the day, it's going to be up to the interpretation of whoever is receiving your brand, whoever's experiencing it. And so it's important to listen to them in that regard. Now, that's not to say to take business advice from your brand or from your audience, but it's important to believe the experience of your audience. If your audience says this is their experience, believe them, right? Any feedback is good feedback. You want to know, okay, wait, all right, that's not the energy I'm trying to create, or that is, all right, tell me a little bit more about that. What's going on there? It seems like they really resonated with this thing that and I thought that they would resonate. I thought they would resonate more with this thing, but they're able to, like, now they're seeing this other thing and that is, pulling them. So what's that about? And I like that. So I'm going to go a little bit more in this direction, a little bit less in that other direction. And, and it's all trial and error. So you're going to keep trying things. You're going to keep testing. You're going to, bring your brand in front of different people and say, okay, hey, like, what did you think of this presentation that I gave? Or, send it out to a bunch of people, share it with a bunch of people and just check, like, ask them for feedback. Truly ask them to let you know what they thought of it, or how could you make it better and whatnot. And you don't have to take everybody's advice at face value. You take everybody's advice at face value. I think that's the right thing, the right term. But you don't have to implement everyone's advice, right? Because sometimes you get everybody's advice and you try to input it, and then you like end up having contradicting things, contradicting thoughts, right? And so for me, I've started to learn things about my brand based off of the comments. When people comment on stuff that I post, I'm like, oh, okay, that is funny. And sometimes, honestly, y'all's comments are funnier than the caption that I wrote, or, or like you give me another idea for something that I want to include into that same joke. And so sometimes y'all are funnier than me. And I love that. Because it pushes me to be more witty and to, be more thoughtful and mindful in my humor. And so, so constantly like getting out, networking. A lot of people look at networking as like very icky. Like, oh, I don't want to network. No, it's just talk to people, man. Just talk to people. Tell people about your brand. That's the first step, right? A lot of people just getting started. Most of their incoming clientele is all through word of mouth. And so if you're not talking about your brand, ain't nobody else gonna be talking about your brand, because you're not where you want to be yet, right? So you have to start telling people, and you got to get people on the same wave. You got to find those super fans who are going to talk about your brand and be like, yo, did you see this? Yo, did you see that new Ace video that he posted? That was hilarious. And they just sharing it, like they just ready, got the post notifications on and everything, right? So those are the people that you really want to find. It just, you're not gonna find them by sitting in your room, and just posting on social media. Just like, I mean, you will. It's a combination of things, right? You have to post, but if you're gonna just post, then you gotta post a lot, right? But you can't just like post. Like, here's another piece of advice. You should have one account. 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 I think for everything that you do, you have all these brand ideas. Oh, I'm a little bit like this and I'm a little bit like that. No, you should have one account, one thing that you focus on. Just one. Okay? Because you start having all these other, like follow this page for this type of stuff and follow this page for this. Nah, just post it all on your one channel. And then when things start to pop off, so much so that it's like, I can't manage this on one channel, then you split it off into other channels, right? But you don't want to split your focus with, especially if your brand is like, if you have any brand that's under 1,000 followers, under 1,000, then you definitely don't need to be splitting your channel. But I'd say, like, you don't have to worry about splitting up a channel until you're at like 100,000 followers, honestly. But anyway, so I say that to say that if you're only posting on your channel that has 600 followers, right? And you're wondering why you're not creating any super fans. Well, it's probably because you're not posting enough. You're not creating enough content. You're not creating anything that's resonating with your super fans, and you're not doing any real outreach. You're just reaching out to your friends. And I'm sorry to say this, but it's a hard truth, but your friends are not going to make you rich. Your friends are not going to make your brand successful. Okay? That's not what unless you're friends with Beyonce and she's going to share your stuff, like, your friends are not going to make you famous and make you successful and make, like, of course, it's great to show your friends and it's great to have support from your friends, but stop worrying about your friends being your super fans. They're not your super fans. Your super fans are your super fans. Your super fans are just completely dedicated. They found you because of your brand. Your friends are friends with you because they like you as a person. They just like you. They don't care what you created. They don't care what brand you have. Oh my God, you make cupcakes. Like, you're so, like, I love you now because you make. No, they're your friends are just your friends. That's it. This is your friends. Exactly. Beyonce friends only, right? So, but you should not be concerning yourself with having enough, like, having your friends be in support of your brand and they didn't share it or they didn't like it or they didn't engage with my stuff. Like, no, you should be going out and finding people that specifically engage with you because of your brand. Right? That's where you're going to be getting your clientele. Those are going to be the people that are like, oh, hey, like, I know somebody that does this. I know somebody that makes cupcakes, right? Like, and they made cupcakes for me and they were incredible. And so, then they referred the next person. Oh, hey, I'm looking for some cupcakes. Like, do you know who makes some cupcakes? Yeah. Well, I went, and Cheryl was at this networking event, or she came to this party and she just brought a bunch of cupcakes. They were bomb. And now, I would never go to anybody except for Cheryl. Right? She's offers really great deal, really great special right now, whatever, right? Because you're always talking about it, so they know it word for word. Like, oh yeah, she said she was offering a 20% off special or whatever it is, right? So you gotta constantly be networking, gotta constantly be talking about your brand, telling people what's up. Like, this is it. This is it. Get so good at it that it just flows off of your tongue, right? And you can go into any situation and talk about your brand and promote your brand, and there you have it. So that's a little bit about networking, relationship building, building strategic partnerships. I think that, for me, it was very much important to not. What I kept doing was I kept offering bits of my brand in order to collaborate with people that did not provide any value to my brand. And I thought that they would. I thought that they would help me take my brand to another level, but it all it did was just add more work to my plate, because now I was creating things for them pro bono, and what is it, in exchange for something that they would do for me. But really what I was getting was like brand loyalty, but the brand loyalty only extended as far as I was willing to do free work. So if you're going to build strategic partnerships, you have to make sure that the value that you're getting from the people that you're partnering with is truly worth it to you. Because I would much rather pay someone to do a service for me than to do it for, than to have, what am I trying to say? I would much rather pay for someone to do a service for me rather than making a partnership from a free exchange that gets me nothing. So because they're like, the person that you're getting to do the thing for free is not really gonna enjoy it. Like, you have to really provide value, because all it's gonna do is build resentment. You're not really building anything of value, because everybody's just working for free, and like, we don't want to work for free. We don't want to be doing this stuff for free. We're trying to make money. We're entrepreneurs. We're trying to build something and create something of value. So that's something that's important that I learned in terms of like my networking and building partnerships. And now I don't partner with people. I really don't. If it has to be a very specific circumstance where I say, okay, I'm going to make an investment in you, or you're going to make an investment in me, and those things will definitely yield. We have a plan for how they will yield, and a contingency for what happens if we don't yield any income from that. So that is that. And then, mastering your digital presence. So strategies for creating a cohesive and compelling online presence across your website and your platform. So when it comes to building your digital media presence, it goes back to that thing of consistency. But we talked a little bit about this last week and last Monday, is that you are your brand's most, you are your best I forgot where I was going with that. So what was I saying? Mastering strategies for creative and cohesive, compelling online presence across social media platforms. Yes, we talked about how when you are creating content, when you're posting content, you want to be consistent across your platforms, and you want to post everywhere. You want to post as often as possible. Create a schedule that works for you, and then consistently do it, right? So, brand embassy for, I don't know what that is. Brand embassy for. Um, I'm not sure what that is. Uh, So you want to create a consistent posting schedule so that you can constantly uh, analyzing, because we say quality through quantity, right? Not just quality over quantity. We want quality. Brand ambassador. Um, am I a brand ambassador? What? I'm not sure. What's the question? um, so um, you want to, if you're trying to build on an online presence, you have to be consistent, right? That's why I'm going live every week. And the more I go live every week, the more people watch, the more people engage, the more people subscribe, and so on and so forth. And I'm also learning for myself. I'm learning what works, what doesn't work, what I'm able to build, how I'm able to grow, and so that's all a part of it. Um, uh, this I'm not really sure what that means, to be honest. Um, Somebody keeps saying brand ambassador, flourish, um, brand ambassador. But anyhow, it's got to be something that you can consistently do if you're planning on posting a lot on social media. So you want to make a schedule that really works for you. So it could just be posting once a week. It could be posting Monday, Wednesday, Friday. But try to hit all of the areas of um, oh, I lost my train of thought. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yes, yes, yes. So you are your best brand ambassador. You are the cultivator of your brand. You are the source of your your digital presence. And so if you're trying to build something, you have to really be able to create a consistency that you can keep up with. And because if you don't, if you fall off, if you stop, you're gonna feel guilty, you're gonna feel bad, you're like, oh, and then when you come back, the your people aren't going to really be engaging in the same way that they were in the beginning. And so it's going to be a little bit more challenging for you to check those analytics and see what truly is working, or what's not, based off of the amount of time that you've been posting. So if you're not posting as much, if you're not creating as much, if you're not able to be consistent, then you're not able. It's going to take you 100 videos to find out what your brand is. It's going to take you 100 videos to really be able to assess what is working from what's not working. What do you like creating from what you don't like creating? It's going to take 100 of those videos, right? 100 times. And here's what's crazy is that less than 1% of people, if you start a podcast, less than 1% of people make 20 episodes. Less than 1%. So if you want to be in the top 1% of podcast creators, you just got to make 20 episodes. Like that's crazy. The bar has never been so low for success, right? 20 episodes is 20 weeks. Just set that up. Set up a schedule, set up something that works for you where you can consistently do that, right? So yeah, the bar has never been so low for creating content and building a brand. So with that being said, you are your brand's best ambassador, your best brand ambassador, and you have to treat it as such. You have to promote your brand. You have to talk about it. You have to post. You post in every single place. Share it with people. Who cares if your friends get mad at you or turn off their post notifications for you? We already talked about it. Your friends are not your core fan base, right? Your friends are your friends. And if they love it, great. If they don't love it, whatever. They're not your core fans anyway. That's not your what do they call it? Your profile. God, what's the name? Your avatar, right? You have to have very specific avatars for for your brand. And like your friends don't matter. Your friends don't matter when it comes to your entrepreneurship. Honestly, they matter in terms of like encouraging you and like making you feel like you can do it and you can achieve it, and that's, your friends should make you feel that way. But your friends aren't going to, like, they're just not going to analyze your brand the way that you need your brand to be analyzed or understood. I'm just speaking about friends in general. Maybe you have a specific friend that is like very much just on board and they're the reason why you started the cupcake company, and you're like, yes, like they're like, I love your cupcakes, please, like, like what is it, Eddie and Bob's Burgers, or what's his name in Bob's Burgers, the guy, like they're there to encourage you, but they're not really there to like be your rubric for how well your brand is doing. That's not what your friends are for. Who cares if they don't share your stuff? Share it with them anyway, right? If they unfollow you, then they're really not your friends. Don't worry about it. Like, who cares? Like, they really just don't support. Stop sending me stuff. Stop telling me stuff, right? It's like, all right, okay. Well, I want friends that support me, but they're not going to be the ones that make you famous. They're not going to be it's not going to be because of your friend that you got this big job. It might be, right? Maybe you have a friend in the industry, but do not focus your sole energy on your friends as your core audience. It's not going to work. It's not going to make you happy. It's not going to make your friends happy. It's not going to do anything good for you. So just focus on being your best brand ambassador, being your best person, your best, what do you call it? Champion, right? Championing your own brand, championing your own cause, and pushing towards the success that you want by focusing on your avatar, focusing on who is that person, your super fan, your avatar, posting consistently, creating a brand that is consistent with your voice, with your mission, and having a very important mission, right? So I went backwards, but you want to have a very important, very good mission, strong mission. It's very clear. I can tell this to anybody. This is exactly what my goals are. I'm creating a very strong brand vision. Then you want to make sure that brand vision and mission are consistent across all of your aesthetic, all your brand touch points. Touch points are every place that a consumer engages with your brand. Anytime an audience touches your brand. So that could be a business card, but it could be a website. It could be a tweet. It could be a caption, right? It could be a picture that you posted on Instagram. Any of those brand touch points, you want to make sure it's consistent with your entrepreneurial mission and vision. Then you want to make sure that you're focusing all of your energy on communicating with your avatar, your super fan, right? And once you focus on your super fan, then you want to be consistent about hitting them every time. Yo, I'm here Monday, I'm live. It's Monday morning, I'm live. It's Monday morning, I'm live. I'm back, it's Monday morning. What's going on, family? I'm live. I'm here, right? You want to build that consistency. I'm constantly posting comedy content. I'm constantly posting this type of stuff. I'm constantly making you laugh, right? I'm constantly inspiring you. I'm constantly helping you elevate. I'm constantly helping you grow your brand. That's because I'm speaking to my super fan. I want my super fan to be successful. I want to make my super fan $1 million. I want to make you a millionaire, right? That's my goal. So I'm going to keep consistently hitting that. I'm going to keep consistently talking to that person and incorporating my brand, incorporating my aesthetic, and I'm going to share it with my friends, but I'm not going to worry about my friends because my friends are my friends. My friends are there to help me feel good when I want to go to the movies and hang out with them. My friends are not there to buy my product. Your friends are not your customers. Okay? Don't make your friends your customers. Your friends can make themselves your customer, but do not make your friends your customer. Okay, that's for them. If they want to buy, say, hey, yo, I got this thing that can help you out with what you're doing. But you're gonna also, when you do that with your friends, you're gonna want to give them discounts. Like, this is not discount shoes. This is not rack room shoes. Okay. We're not trying to give discounts to everybody. So your friends cannot be your core followers. Your friends are not going to make you rich. You're going to want to give your friends discounts, and the friends and family and all of that stuff. Your family is going to be there to love you and just cheer you. Hey, yeah, we're so glad you did it. Right. But do not make your friends and your family your customers. Make your customers Make your customers feel like family. Okay? All right. Y'all, I spoke a lot. I think, a lot more than I was intending to. But, this is a big topic. But I will be back next week. If you really like this, I'll be back next week, next Monday morning at 6 a.m. I was a little bit later. But y'all tell me, did you like this later time? Monday morning, I was aiming to go a little bit earlier, because I like to wake up early. I wake up at 5 o'clock, during Monday, Wednesday, Friday. But if you enjoyed, Monday through Friday. And so if you enjoyed this time, if you like this, let me know. Let me know what times work best for you. Send me some comments and stuff. I'll start posting a little bit. Maybe I'll post a little poll to see, what time works best for people. But I'd like it to be in the morning, ideally, because it encourages me to wake up. I hope it encourages you to wake up, start the week off right, and get just right on the right foot. And I want people to really enjoy Mondays and see Mondays as a great opportunity to have an amazing week. And so, again, I appreciated y'all. Thank you for giving me your time, your energy. Thank you for giving me your feedback. Thank you for helping me when I had brain farts every now and again. And please, engage, share, like, post, promote. I post this on every platform. I know most of y'all are on Instagram, but I'm also on Facebook and Twitter and TikTok and not. Am I on TikTok? No, I didn't go TikTok live this time, but I'm on Facebook and YouTube and everywhere where you could possibly listen to this live stream. I go live on all platforms. Shout out to Ecamm. Ecamm is the platform that I use to stream to multiple platforms, which is really awesome, and they make it very easy. So I appreciate y'all for joining in and talking to me and just letting me talk your ear off a little bit. But I hope you gained something of value. And again, I want to always make sure you remember to always at the end of the day, align yourself with truth, trust, and patience. And I promise you, you will ace your life. Peace out, y'all.